If we were to continue taking steps up in the 2 column and down in the 2 column, the answers at both ends of the path would still be 10 apart. Here we're looking at 7 times 8, and the complements 3 times 2, and the answers are 50 apart. Another pair of steps would give us answers that are 60 apart. There are similar paths between every pair of problems like these. Here we're looking at the path between 7 times 7 and 3 times 3. Now our vertical columns are in the 3s and the 7s. Again, they total 10. And our answers are 40 apart in this case because there are 4 pairs in each direction. From 3 times 1 to 7 times 9, we find there are 6 pairs. 2 of them are pairs of 5 plus 5, and 4 of them are pairs of 3 plus 7. They total 60, and 60 is the difference between 3 and 63. From 2 times 2 to 8 times 8, there are 6 pairs again. This time there are 3 pairs of 5 plus 5 and 3 pairs of 2 plus 8 for a total of 60. The difference between 4 and 64 is 60. We need to remember that every step in the 2's column is going to be a 2, and every step in its complementary column 8 is going to be an 8. Many times children don't seem to be aware of this. It's so important. Looking a little closer at the 2's and 8's column, we notice that in the 5 row the answers are 10 and 40, both of them ending in 0. Here we're looking at the 2's and 8's columns. We're going to move up in the 2 column and down in the 8 column from the middle row at the 5's. We're looking first at 8 and 48, 6 and 56, 4 and 64, 2 and 72. Between every pair of problems like these, there is a similar path. The center of each path is at 5 times 5. The 2 vertical parts of each pair are in complementary columns. Here they're in column 2 and column 8. There are an equal number of steps on each side of 5 times 5. These steps on opposite sides can always be paired so that the value of each pair is always 10. The pairs of vertical segments always total 10 because they are in complementary columns. Because the sum of the values of each pair of steps totals 10, the sum of all of the pairs will have to end in a 0. The total will have to be 10, 20, 30, 40, or so on. This 0 is critical. It explains why the numbers at both ends of the path have to end in the same ones digit. If one end of the path is an 8, the other end has to be an 8, since the difference between them has to be a multiple of 10. We now know that the fact that they are always a multiple of 10 apart explains why the 2 products end in the same ones digit. Now let's look at why the sum of the factors tells us how many 10s separate the 2 products. Let's look at our multiplication chart again and focus our attention on 5 times 5 equals 25 at the middle. Let's, instead of multiplying 5 times 5, add them. The answer is 5 plus 5 equals 10. I've put that 10 in place of the 25. Moving to the right, we come to 5 times 6 equals 30. Again, let's substitute for the 30 the sum of 5 and 6, which is 11. Moving again to the right, we come to 5 times 7 equals 35. The sum of 5 and 7 is 12. I hope you're noticing a pattern here. We come to 5 times 8 next, and 5 plus 8 equals 13. Interestingly, we've taken 3 steps away from 10, and we're at 13. Let's move down now to 6 times 8. Their total is 14, and we are 4 steps away from 10. You've no doubt noticed that the ones digit in the sum counts off the steps. For every one of these red steps on the right, there's an opposite green step on the left, and each pair of red and green steps equals 10. The sum, or the ones digit in the sum, tells us how many pairs. Every time we move to the right or down from the 10 at the center, one of the factors is going to go up by 1. Therefore, the total of the factors will go up by 1. Here we're at 5 plus 6, and the total went to 11. Here, the second factor went up from 6 to 7, and therefore the total went to 12. Now the second factor at 5 times 8 went up by 1, and so the sum of 5 and 8 is 1 more. When we move down, it's the first factor that increases. 5 increased to 6 here, and the total becomes 14. As long as we move one step down or to the right, the sum's one digit will increase by 1. The 4 counted off steps to the right take us to 6 times 8. The 4 mirror steps to the left take us to 4 times 2. Here we apply what we've learned to understanding 9 times 7 and 1 times 3. Here we see 8 times 9 and 2 times 1. Please go to part 3 for continuation.